About 20 years ago, Saint Germain perfected a device which he calls the Ascension Chair. When an individual is mentally ready for the ascension, he may speed up the physical process by sitting in the chair while a master, using white magic methods, directs a flow of pure energy into the device. This acts upon the physical atoms of the body and raises the vibrations to the ascension frequency in a matter of minutes. The ascension chair cannot be used by anyone who is below a certain mark in evolution, for if the individual is not ready, the effect would be shattering to the physical body. The chair is mentioned here, however, because it is one more example of the many devices which will serve to advance Aquarian evolution and which will lead to the end of death and taxes on this planet. Although the ascension chair perfected by Ascended Master Saint Germain is for the few, the masses have by no means been forgotten. The rejuvenation equipment which George Van Tassel is building at Giant Rock, California, is definitely designed to assist people physically to raise their atomic vibrations. As the New Age advances, similar equipment will be in widespread use. But the immediate need for individual assistance can be answered by the tube of light. All possible aid should be given at this time to help children and young people to not only build the tube of light, but to help them to understand something about the tremendous evolutionary opportunities awaiting them. This is a very difficult period for children because they are coming into a world filled with confused and bewildered adults who cannot find any sense of peace or security within their own hearts. Also, it must not be forgotten that hundreds of these children have been out of embodiment only a short time, having died during the violence of World War II. Their etheric memories of that period are still fresh and very disturbing. The United States is in an especially difficult situation so far as its young people are concerned, for thousands of those who formerly embodied in other nations have been attracted to rebirth in America. However, it is cheering to know that at least one organization has been set up to assist these young people to become oriented in the space age as it dawns on the three Americas. This is the Junior Sky Watch of the Americas, located in Washington, D.C. It was founded by Arnold Krukman, a former newspaper writer and friend of Nikola Tesla. Mr. Krukman, that's spelled K-R-U-C-K-M-A-N, has been interested in flying since its pioneer phases in the early days of the balloon. He originally helped to organize many of the pioneer flight groups, their membership drawn from those who owned balloons or who flew in them. At the same time, these early pioneers were devoted to the new sky flyer, the airplane. Mr. Krukman finds that those who were interested in the rudimentary elements of flying that went into balloon activity paralleled those persons today who are interested in spaceships. Mr. Krukman was very fond of Nikola Tesla and utilized every opportunity to observe the unusual experiments which Tesla made in the field of aeronautics. At one time, Mr. Krukman wrote a series of articles about Tesla for the New York World, relating an instant when Tesla rented an armory in New Jersey and flew a dirigible in it, using only his willpower to make the dirigible move through the armory. Mr. Krukman also recalled a time when Tesla took an airplane to Marblehead, Massachusetts, and sent it out upon the water for a great distance, without any motive power except that which he himself supplied mentally. Arnold Krukman was a child prodigy, and while still very young he performed brilliantly upon the violin, playing for the crowned heads of Europe. Later, as a teenager, he forsook the violin and took up writing and then journalism. He had a long friendship with Tesla, and for many years he wrote articles on flight for the New York World in the days when Tesla was about the only living man who had a comprehensive knowledge of the subject. It was in 1896 that Tesla built his first model plane in London. Now Arnold Krukman has grown to maturity, but his interest is still the same as it was in his teenage days. He states, and rightly so, that the boys and girls in the Junior Sky Watch of the Americas have a new light in their eyes. The work of sky scouting, Cy knew, and it is real. The only boundary is the cosmos. Mr. Krugman's organization answers a definite New Age need for young people. It forms an intriguing outlet for youthful energy and provides a unique educational opportunity in a subject which is still not under the dull control of the school curriculum. It should be remembered that Einstein did not pursue his education until he received his doctorate. He escaped from the dreary classrooms at the earliest opportunity, and he stated that had he been imprisoned within those limiting walls only a few days longer, he would have given up mathematics forever and turned to the violin as a more worthy instrument. Now that Otis T. Carr's free energy inventions have been announced, a vast new field of splendid, far-flung wonderment opens up to the teenagers. It is these young people who will refuse to be caught up in the outmoded power limitations that led to the past dull years of brutal human struggle. Mr. Carr has expressed his great concern for the young people of today, struggling for creative expression in the turbulent world in which they have been forced to live. He speaks as follows: Emotions were bursting their bonds wherever you'd go. Crimes of passion and violence raged the globe. Bored juveniles ignored all mandate of family or public authority and harassed their neighbors with deadly intent. Already crowded asylums doubled and tripled their quotas to admit ever-increasing numbers of the overstressed for treatment. Those in greedy control of the mass of minds and materials still persisted in draining off all the wealth to feed the war machine. Prices spiraled always higher, while reserves of natural resources crept ever more swiftly toward wasted exhaustion. The public media was splashed with these pressures of fear and hate. News of nations at each other's throats with boast of bigger and even more powerful weapons of devastation were coupled with loud threats which, if ever carried out, could only result in the total annihilation of existing life upon planet Earth. Little wonder then that boundless joy came to the hearts of men when they learned that free energy and space flight had been returned to our beloved globe. Soon will the spirit of peace descend upon mankind. Soon will the dove return bearing the symbolic olive branch. This then is our heritage, our divine and glorious destiny. Now in the glad years ahead, our new age children will grow into the golden age of heaven on earth, with scarcely a memory of past darkness. This has been made possible because countless men and women, drawn from the furthest reaches of the galaxy, together with a certain white dove, have chosen to steadfastly serve the light. There is more to be said, much more, and the story of the light that ever lights the beating heart of mankind will be continued in a second volume, called Flame of the Dove. Now, I think I should tell you I'm come to the end of this book, and I'm just realizing there's another book. I wonder if she ever wrote it, called Flame of the Dove. I will have to look for that. But she gives a suggested reading list. And I don't know if anyone's interested, but if they are, I would do this. I would tell them what all these were. There's a few other little items at the end of this book. Important things about stuff that is